Look, I think in his last presidency, Trump was actually quite anti-Bitcoin. So this has been quite a large 360, 180, I should say, by him. He has made quite a significant statement here. And importantly, he wasn't the only presidential candidate at the conference that was talking about Bitcoin. We had RFK Jr. also talking in much more aggressive terms about getting a Bitcoin strategic reserve. So we've really had a shift in the Overton window here where you're going to start to see nation states all around the world question, should we be thinking about this too? And interestingly, overnight, you had Hong Kong policymaker stand up and say, actually, we as Hong Kong should start to establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve, which is certainly not one of the first countries I thought of as coming out and being out there. But look, we've had 15 years where ordinary people have had a chance to learn about Bitcoin. The institutions have started to make their way into the space with the advent of the ETF at the beginning of this year. And now, remarkably, we're already talking about nation state adoption. As a Bitcoiner, this is something that we didn't expect to see for many years to come. But with the US leading the charge on this, this can obviously push things much, much higher.
Is that where the next momentum phase then comes from, Richard? Because if we take a look at just the graph we have on screen, post-February, pretty much when the ETFs really came into play, then of course you had the halving as well. That was pretty much the theme that ramped up prices beyond $70,000. Is adoption then by governments creating those strategic reserves set to be the next phase of uptick then for cryptos?
As I said, this is not something that was expected. I think the next phase really was going to be coming from just the normal cycle process of the halving. You have the minor capitulation in post the halving immediately when essentially the supply drops and means that inefficient miners really struggle to stay on the network and supporting the network. We've had that shift come through already. You had some big sell events sort of hit the news where coins that were locked up in a bankruptcy on an exchange out of Japan called Mt. Gox have now come to market, or essentially most of them come to market. And you've also had the German police selling their stack of 50,000 Bitcoin. All of these things have hit the market. And now with the miners clearing out to the degree that they have, you only have efficient miners remaining on the network. We were already set up for a good run higher. People were already predicting 150,000 for the next 12 to 18 months. And now with this shift, things can move very, very fast, and we could be going considerably higher with the supply dynamic that you have on Bitcoin.
Good to see you, Richard. Volumes are a bit underwhelming, though, aren't they? Despite all all that good news story you mentioned, where it from ETFs or governments or reserve currencies, it doesn't seem to me, and I'm looking at various volume charts here, that anyone's bothering trading the thing.
You're absolutely right. I mean, retail sentiment is as low as it was around the time of the FTX debacle. You've had a 4x in the price since then, and it's really only the players in the ETFs, which is obviously to some degree US retail, but certainly not the extent that we would normally see in a bull cycle. So we haven't really hit the excitement phase of this bull cycle. If you look at Google Trends, as I say, they're down to the lowest levels we've seen in years for interest in Bitcoin. So again, I really see that as another factor for what's yet to come in this cycle as we start to push higher.